It's Lee Hendricks, and welcome to the Wednesday night webinar. I'm so glad to be back. It's been a while since we've done one of these. And tonight's is going to be really exciting with living with stress. Now, I'm just going to give another few seconds for people to join in and kind of click in, get yourself comfy. So I'm just going to mute everybody else, not because I don't want to hear from you, but I just don't want any of the background noise. And once the webinar is over, I'll unmute everybody, and then we can have open question and answer and everything else. Just give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, living with stress. So let's unpack stress a little bit. I want to unpack it into three parts. First, let's talk about what it is. Stress, we kind of look at stress and say, I'm so stressed out and everything else. We're generally referring to the emotional aspect of stress or the external, like what's happening in our external world and how it's affecting us emotionally. And that's definitely one part of stress. But I want to share with you, stress is more than that. We want to look at the internal aspects of stress as well, because part of it is how we interpret things. But also the physical stress. If we're dehydrated, that's causing the body stress. If we're diseased, that's causing the body stress. If we have high blood pressure, that's causing the body stress. So anything that's not working well in the body is also going to be causing stress. So stress is both internal, it's external, and it's from our whole body, right? It's physical, it's emotional, and it's spiritual. When I say spiritual, I'm not meaning your relationship with a higher being. I'm meaning having those spiritual needs met, the need for meaning and purpose, the need for connection, creativity, competency, autonomy, all that sort of stuff, security. When we don't have those needs met, they create another level of stress. I'm sure that most of us at some point in our lives have been at a job that we absolutely hated. That job that you absolutely hated was creating a huge amount of stress in your body. I remember my first job out of high school was in insurance, and I got to file. I was putting colored tabs on file folders and filing according to number and color and letter or something like that. And I'm a words person. I love to talk. I love to speak. I have an incredible vocabulary. Within 3 months of working that job, I could speak in monosyllables only. I lost my ability to converse. It was so incredibly stressful that you wouldn't consider a menial job of filing, and nobody was particularly worried about how I filed anything. It could be so stressful, but it was the most stressful job I have ever had because I was so bored. So that's a stressor. And that leads us to the second part is, how do we know if we're stressed? Well, that's a really interesting one, because somebody else doing that same menial job that was so stressful for me, maybe one of their top needs is for security, and they knew that job wasn't going anywhere. They knew they could depend on that paycheck week to week, month to month, whatever it was, and they weren't looking for anything else. They could be totally happy in that. They could just turn off, go to work, put the hours in, take a paycheck home. For them, it could have been no stress at all. And there's no judgment there. It's how do we interpret stress? So that's why I bring up the spirit part, because that's our hierarchy of needs are really to determine how we interpret stress as well. And of course, there's the emotional aspect. And when our ability to respond emotionally or be response able determines how we take in stress as well, is a lot of our interpretation of stress is in fact emotional. Anything coming externally, we interpret through our five senses. That information from the five senses, excuse me, this is my cat. I'm just going to get you off of here, my darling. We take that information through our five senses, and it goes into the limbic brain or the emotional brain, and it's a feeling, safe or unsafe, that triggers those responses of the fight and flight or the rest, restore, rebuild autoimmune response. And that is where the whole stress response comes from. And I'm getting stressed out because my cat is going to be coming up again. So we'll just let the cat come up. I apologize for that. The other thing we want to look at for stress, so we're getting stressed out. So what happens to the body? Of course, we have all these hormones that are running through us. We have the muscle tension, change in breathing. Muscle tension on its own is going to decrease lymphatic drainage from areas. It's going to increase the demand for oxygenation, food, water. It has all sorts of increased demands for sustenance and supplementation in the body, and we have a decreased ability to get rid of toxins. The other thing that it's causing us, you're going to notice the symptoms, right? You're going to notice things like fatigue, irritability, maybe gut problems, insomnia, some cramping, weight gain, more cravings for food, things like that. Those are all symptoms of being stressed. But what's going on in the body is we're having increasing toxicity and inflammation. And this is where things get deadly. And this is why we say, stress is a cause of like 85% of chronic disease. And those chronic diseases are what are stealing both quality and quantity of life. When we look at our allotted years, if you look at what the human being is capable of living, like we have a lifespan of something like 125 years. We have a life expectancy of, 82 or something like that. So you can see we're losing a lot of years to this chronic disease, etc. So you might say, living to a ripe old age of 84, maybe not. Maybe at 84 you should still be able to be out hiking on hiking the plateau or something. We'll leave that part where it is. But I wanted you to realize that this is one of the aspects of stress that we want to deal with. So the next part we're going to talk about is how do we deal with this stress? Because we're not going to escape it, right? If you were in a relationship with anybody, anywhere, even if it's Mother Teresa, you are going to have a Mother Teresa relationship. Be kind of difficult at this point in time. Any kind of relationship that you're in, there's going to be stress involved. Any kind of work you do, there's going to be stress involved. And we all know there's good stress, there's bad stress, but we all live with stress. So the key is, how do I live healthy with stress? Now, this is a question for me that I've had to learn the hard way, because I am a workaholic to the core, and it's a really hard thing for me to break out of. I'm addicted to being busy. I'm addicted to a bit of that adrenaline drive of meeting deadlines, things like that. I only had like 5 appointments, balancing all of those before I had to be here for 5:30. Of course, the computer broke down and recharged it. And like that's the type of stuff that I thrive a little bit on that, which is sort of crazy. And I raise my own stress levels. So let's talk about living with stress, because we all have it. So first off, we talked about the difference between internal and external stress, physical, emotional, and spiritual stress. So we're talking about physical stress, pain, injury, disease, colds, flus, etc. Those are all causing stresses and increasing demands on the body. We can look at those and either treat them with over-the-counter medications, which are going to add additional stressors to the body, or we can look at using our essential oils. So essential oils work. They work wonderfully. I know right now with cold and flu season going around, all of my friends who are using essential oils, if they get this flu that's going on right now, they're sick a couple of days, right? And they're generally back to work within the rest day, then back to work at day 4, day 5 at the most. Those that are not using essential oils or using other stuff, they're off for weeks. There's a big difference there. And this is because essential oils have huge antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal properties, and they work on multiple levels of the body. So any essential oil is communicating with the body, mind, body, and spirit. And I talk a lot about that in some of the videos I do. The other thing that we talked about, so when we were looking at that, let's look at some oils for changing our attitude towards the stress that we're under. One of my favorite oils for doing that with is the citrus oils. Citrus oils are all uplifting. So when I'm kind of getting kind of heavy and a little bit too serious about things, diffusing some citrus oils is going to change my mood. Lemon oil just makes me laugh. I'm looking around for my oils and they're across the room, so you're not going to see them right now. Little bottles that you won't be able to see the labels on anyways, but So lemon oil, beautiful, beautiful oil, very inexpensive oil, wonderful cleanser as well, but it's going to uplift mood. And so when we're diffusing essential oils in our workspace, wherever we are, we're able to affect mood with those because these essential oils, the volatile compounds, going right to the limbic brain, and they're changing behavioral responses, behavioral patterns. And this is one of the things I notice with when we are in stress, we go to moods. We have fallback moods, right? We've lost our response ableness, and now we're kind of locked into a mood. We'll have a mood. This is a really good signal. It's like, oh, my stress level is too high. I'm in a mood. I'm in a bad mood. Moods are not emotional, normal emotional language. Emotions flow, and our emotions should always be flowing. We're happy one minute, we can be sad the next. There's they're responding, emotions respond to the environment that we're in. When we're locked into something, it's a mood, it's a state of disease in the emotions. It's a lack of motion in the emotion, basically, is a mood. So moods are not good things. And but they are a symbol to us that, something's happening here, I have to work on that. So using your essential oils, finding what your mood is and using that. One of the things that happens to me is I get really scattered. I'm an idea person, so I can get scattered when I'm too stressed. A lot of the root oils are great for me, like vetiver is my best friend. It grounds me completely. Other thing that's going to be causing stress are emotions. When we get, emotionally, you gotta seize up. That seizing up, the physical response to our emotions causes more stress in the body. And you end up with, the locked neck, the neck pain, etc. Using our oils like marjoram, it's a beautiful one. It's the happiness herb. Okay, so it's uplifting mood, and it's also going to stop the spasming, and it's a huge antiviral, antibacterial as well. So it's a great oil to use. Use those ones topically on the body. We also talked about the need for the body has more demands when we're ill. We want to up our supplements. So I know right now, this past year, I've been going through a fairly stressful time. And this is my friend, and normally I just take the normal dose. But I found that during high stress times, especially sustained high stress, I've increased my dose by 50%. And I'm also taking things to help with digestion, so I don't get the gut problems, the Terrazyme. I'm making sure I'm getting out probiotics because when we're high stress, we change the pH of things, and that's going to affect our gut health and flora as well. So I want to make sure I help that out along as much as possible. And I'm also using ones for energy and more for anti-inflammatories as well. The Deep Blue Polyphenol Blend is an amazing anti-inflammatory. And that's one of the things we said about increased stress is going to cause increased inflammation in the body, which is going to cause an increase in disease. So let's respond to those things by using our the Long Life Vitality supplements. The Alpha CRS in this has incredible antioxidants and a lot of energy as well. So I think you're going to find that during these times of stress, we need to increase supplementation. Some other things we can do, because we are all living in stress, is to realize that being a martyr, being the superhero and working 12 to 16-hour days is not going to resolve stress, and it's not getting more things done. We have a culture of martyrdom, I think, and I'm totally guilty of working. I used to work double shifts all the time. So, pulling off 16-hour, 20-hour days was my norm. And I paid for it with absolute burnout, which is not fun at all. But I also wasn't as effective as I could be. I know, and studies have shown 8 hours of sleep. The more stressed you are, the more sleep that you need so that your body has time to do rest, repair, and restore. More water. Keep those cells hydrated, so make sure you're drinking your water. Get outside. Breathe fresh air for 20 minutes. That's the ions in fresh air, that positivity that comes with fresh air. We all know it, right? When you go for a walk in the forest, you go for a walk out in nature and you're revitalized. Take 20 minutes, get out for your walk, and try exercising midday. We need to break away from that work. We need to break away from our desk or whatever your work is. It needs to be broken up. Now, these are just healthy habits, and we don't want to let go of our healthy habits when we're in high stress. We do know that if we can maintain our healthy habits of making sure that we're eating healthy meals, hydrating, exercising, taking breaks, etc., that we'll actually increase our productivity and our response-ableness or responsibility. So the next time you hear somebody says, I'm so stressed, kind of challenge them a bit and saying, like, are you actually getting more done by working all these extra hours? Or would you actually be more productive if we took a break? Take breaks. Take a 10, 15, 20-minute break and take them every few hours. Don't skip your breaks. That's about what I have for you today. So there's so much that we can talk about on this topic. But really, we all live with stress. So create the healthy habits to support your body when living in stress, so you're not ending up with that dreaded toxicity and inflammation in the body that's going to lead to long-term disease. Because long-term stress leads straight to long-term disease. Thanks so much for listening. And if you didn't make it and you're watching a recording, the best stuff is about to happen now, and that's the question and answer period. And I don't record question and answer because I want to respect people's privacy. If you want to get your own notification of when a webinar is starting, go to my webinar, my website page. It's not a webinar page, it's a website page. My website is Proactive Healthstyle, PROACTIVEHEALTHSTYLE, proactivehealthstyle.com. And you'll find a link there to be able to join on webinars. And I would love to see you here. Take care, and I'm going to stop the recording now. And we're on to Q&A.